Welcome guys, in today's video I'll show you the optimal way of playing with 400% gyro sensitivity in order to become a better player on the battlegrounds. But first, make sure you like the video so the algorithm grants you pro PUBG Mobile skills. Now, let's begin. The gyroscope is incredibly powerful as it allows you to have high precision when focusing on your targets, especially when tracking their movement. For this reason, if you got used to using the gyroscope at 300% sensitivity, you may have noticed that focusing on your targets is incredibly quick and easy. Unfortunately, there's a major downside that affects the gyroscope's performance, and this is the reason why it's not possible to replace the thumbs for main camera control. The movement of the gyroscope depends on the physical rotation of your cell phone, so the maximum motion that you can generate in-game depends primarily on the rotation that you can generate in real life. So as you can see, your effectiveness in combat is reduced the more you turn your phone, since at a certain point, you will feel discomfort and eventually you'll lose visibility of your screen. Increasing the sensitivity of the gyroscope helps to lessen the effect of this limitation, but what you can also do is use your thumb for when you need to change the focus of the general camera. The downside to this is that your thumb is not as accurate as gyro. This is not a problem when you want to change direction when running, because this is a simple movement. But if you're in close range combat and your enemy is moving all over the place, it's hard to track him with your thumb. This is when you need to use the gyroscope so that you can hit more shots in order to eliminate your opponent. However, as I've mentioned before, the gyroscope has a motion limit that reduces your combat performance when your enemy is outside the effective range of rotation. In this case, you should use your thumb to focus on your target and correct the inaccuracy with the use of the gyroscope. Doing this may be slower, but here's an exercise that can improve your speed with this technique. However, no matter how much you practice this, there are situations in which your reaction speed is extremely important to avoid being eliminated. In this case, the gyroscope is the only option you have for combat. Fortunately, a few updates ago, the gyroscope's sensitivity limit was increased to 400%. Let's compare in degrees the angular range of the general sensitivity of the gyroscope at 300 and 400%. The rotation limit is reached when the discomfort of the position of your phone starts to reduce your performance in combat. Therefore, this variable is subjective. However, these results apply to most gyro users. Let's begin. The in-game motion limit at 300% sensitivity is 90 degrees, but with 400% sensitivity, the maximum angular range is increased to 130 degrees. This means that the problem of close-range gyro combat is mitigated with the sensitivity at 400. If you want to take advantage of the benefits that this brings you, set this option to 400%. This setting only modifies your overall camera sensitivity when not aiming down your sights. Now you'll have greater flexibility and speed when locking onto a target. However, one thing you will initially notice is that your accuracy will suffer a bit, since the general rule is that the higher the sensitivity, the lower the precision. One of the side effects is that your camera focus will shake more, which can affect your aim at long range. But why would this sensitivity affect your precision at long range? When you have a long distance target, aiming is absolutely necessary. Each scope has a specific sensitivity, but its performance can still be affected by hipfire sensitivity. The reason for this is because when you aim, there are 3 movements that you have to take into account. Movement number 1, general camera focus. Movement number 2, aiming down your sights. Movement number 3, distance correction. As you can see, hipfire sensitivity plays an important role in the first movement, so the more precise this is, the greater the distance you have to correct in movement number 3. So, for the sensitivity of 400%, these are the advantages. And these are the disadvantages. This information can help you choose between 300 or 400% as your maximum sensitivity once you're an experienced gyro player. But the mindset I want you to have is that, if possible, don't let these disadvantages limit your skill in the game. So don't settle for the downsides by setting your sensitivity to 400%. I'm going to help you turn them into advantages with a few training drills. Enter the cheer park and approach this stone. Press the button to enter a private training ground. Now choose a weapon and go over to configure the training mode. Disadvantage number 1, hip accuracy. This disadvantage has to do with the lack of precision that you will initially experience once you switch over to 400% sensitivity. Fortunately, when shooting from the hip, you'll generally be shooting at an enemy at close range, so the target will be relatively large. However, to eliminate this disadvantage and improve your hip accuracy, these are the exercises you have to practice. Exercise number 1, static target training. This exercise will improve your basic precision and combine it with the speed of your reflexes. Exercise number 2, moving target training. This exercise will improve your precision in targeting constantly moving targets. Exercise number 3, advanced static target training. You will simulate fixation with your own movement towards a static target. Exercise number 4, advanced moving target training. You will apply everything you have learned previously to simulate a realistic confrontation with movement of your target and your own. Disadvantage number 2, rotation hypersensitivity. The higher the gyro sensitivity, the easier it is for the phone to detect small hand movements that can distract you while playing. This is called the earthquake effect, and it's very annoying when you increase your sensitivity. However, you can limit this effect with proper training. Exercise number 1, target focus control. This exercise will help you control your hands and maintain precise hip focus. Exercise number 2, moving target tracking. This exercise will help you maintain control over your hands while using the gyroscope to track a moving target. Exercise number 3, static target focus with movement. Here you will focus on keeping the reticle in the target's head as much as possible while moving left and right. Disadvantage number 3, long-range camera control. This disadvantage affects your aiming accuracy. The best way to mitigate it is to practice the correction distance from its most fundamental aspect, hip focus. Exercise number 1, precision at range. This exercise will help you improve your precision when focusing on a target at long range. Exercise number 2, full scope and movement. This exercise will help you link the accuracy of the general camera sensitivity with the scope sensitivity in order to maintain fluidity in your aiming movements and improve your ability to decrease correction distance. Exercise number 3. Scoping with cover. Now you'll practice all the skills you have learned from the 2 previous exercises in order to simulate a realistic situation in which you need to focus on the target with your reticle before standing up and aiming. Now that you've mastered these skills, the downsides of the 400% gyro sensitivity have become irrelevant. Without a doubt, with proper training, this sensitivity can now be considered superior to 300%. Personally, I've set it up to the 3x scope in order to prioritize control over precision, since the main purpose of these scopes is mostly short-range spraying. If you decide to do the same and set your scopes to 400% gyro sensitivity, I'll provide you with a few training exercises to help you accelerate the process. Exercise number 1. Target switch training. This exercise will help you get your reflexes used to the new sensitivity and thus be able to react quickly regardless of having multiple targets. Exercise number 2. Tracking moving targets. The increased sensitivity is going to make it easier to keep your sights on a moving vehicle. But first, you have to simulate it on the training grounds with a target at the highest possible speed. Exercise number 3. Precise target focus. This exercise will help you focus your sights quickly on the head of your target. You will start to develop an instinct in you that will help you cause more damage to your opponents, regardless of whether they shoot first. Sensitivity at 400% is incredibly difficult even for advanced gyroscope users. If you manage to master it, you will develop incredibly precise reflexes in PUBG Mobile.